welcome. I assume you all can hear me now, yes. So my name is Þórhildur, and I will be moderating this panel today. And I have some great guests here with me. But what we want to do today is diving into one of the hospitality's biggest dilemma and try to answer the question if digital guest journey drive retention better than human interactions. So we all know that travel has changed a lot, and nowadays guests, they book their trips, they check in, personalize their stay, and check out without ever talking to a person. It's all about this convenience, speed, and automation. And the real question is, does this seamless tech-driven experience foster true guest loyalty? We all also know that for decades we have, traveled, and we like when we check into a hotel to see this welcoming smile and all these small personal touches. So we also want to dig into and see if we are trading loyalty for efficiency. This is something that we want to answer here today. I have these great guests here with me, and I think we should start by, if you could introduce yourself. We have here Uli from Apaleo, Fredrik from Eoghan, and Erlendur from Sweeply. So if you can make a brief introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself and Apaleo.
Sure, thank you very much. So my name is Uli. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a Munich-based company called Apaleo. We started the company with a couple of friends 7 years ago, and our mission was really to change the hospitality technology again, as we did actually in the past with a couple of companies. So I have a passion for hotels, travel, technology, and sports. And I was working initially for hotel chains, and then at some point, some 20 years ago, I said, how can I combine those passions better? So I went into technology, hospitality technology, and since that time, we are building up startups in hospitality technology. We make them big, bring them around the world, and then after 10 years or so, we do something new. So our latest baby is Apaleo, which we started 7 years ago.
Thank you. Fredrik?
Great. Hi, I'm Fredrik. I represent a company called Eoghan. I'm responsible for sales, and we are a guest interaction and communication platform which enables hotels to offer a digital guest journey, but at the same time also offers a tool to automate some of the repetitive tasks at the hotel.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Erlendur. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sweeply, so similar to maybe to Ulrik. I was grown up in the hospitality business in the sense that my family ran a bed and breakfast for Copenhagen for 30 years. I'm from Iceland, but I moved as a teenager there. So I kind of breathed in hospitality through my upbringing, but somehow decided not to start there. I started in my career in technology and software, spent over 20 years there, did a lot of interesting things for a lot of different vectors, but never hospitality. But then me and two other co-founders started Sweeply, and there I had the opportunity to kind of combine my family background in hospitality, and my passion for technology and improving lives of people in the daily lives, in the workplaces, with technology and how we can transform a lot of the processes with new and exciting technology. And Sweeply is all about simplifying your housekeeping and task management operations. It's really taking those manual processes that many of you maybe are using today, printing out the list, communication, calling around, manual verbal communication, and just encapsulating that in a digital way where it's more easy to improve the workflows around housekeeping, maintenance, and guest requests. So it's all about reducing costs, making the guest experience better, and we also add and contribute to making the hotel operation more sustainable.
Great, thank you. All right, we will start in a bit, but first I want to ask you guys. So I will ask you if you could raise your hand if you think AI and digital gesturing drive more guest loyalty than human interaction. So if the world was black and white, no gray there. So raise your hands if you think AI will drive more. Okay, so we have like 12% of the group raising hands. So this is a good input in our discussion here. So we want to go through like the guest journey, and if we start with the pre-stay. So Fredrik, how have booking experience evolved with AI and personalization?
I think the booking experience has transformed significantly. So it used to be a very standard process for a person to make a very simple reservation, selecting a room, arrival date, length of stay. So now with AI or any other technology, guests are able to get a much more tailored communication. We know for a fact that travelers, they seek relevance, they want convenience and speed. So AI or similar technology is able to provide that data so that people can get a relevant pre-arrival information, check-in invitations. But I think that most importantly, technology can enhance that human interaction. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all about, the guest needs to, have this platform to personalize the stay, right? And so, Erlendur, how crucial is that for guests to have the control over the stay? And, how is tech helping us with that? And is it doing better than, the old email before I come?
I think obviously, as Fredrik is talking about, I think guest expectation evolved. I think that's kind of where we are. Guests are more expecting more from the hotels and accommodations. I think that's important. I think every hotel is working on how can we improve loyalty to my brand, to my hotel, and also many are thinking about sustainability. So I think when you look at the guest, you're thinking about how can we cater to their preferences, give them more control over the stay, more choices, how the communication can be more adapted to each individual person. And I think obviously that's where technology really can do good things. You can take a lot of tasks that are manual today, you can convert them to automation. So in that sense, you can save a lot of time, and that time can then be used to be more catering to the guest, give more time to their preferences, their needs, communication with them, and foster more loyalty. And I think that's really where technology can and AI can really help. So I think technology is crucial to this, because without technology, I think that time is going to be hard and very expensive to find. But with technology, you can save a lot of time, cost, where you're really not adding value to the process, but you can use that time to kind of enhance the guest experience instead. So I think that's really where technology has impact.
So I think we all agree that we can use the technology to, personalize the stay and all that. And then hotels, they are using a lot of technology, right? Mm-hmm. So it must come also down to integrations. And, that must be a big part, and integration between the systems must play a big part. So Ule, what do you think about that? What is that a crucial thing for this seamless experience?
I think overall this is one of the biggest hurdles we are seeing in hospitality and hotel technology today. I think when I would take this discussion back to a different level, I would now make a claim which says hotel technology in hotels and hotel groups and other accommodation players is totally broken. Mm-hmm. What I want to say with this, if you travel throughout the world and go a lot to hotels and other accommodation businesses like hostels or whatever, you will see that technology overall is not working at all. You go wherever you go, you have difficulties in booking, you have difficulties in checking in, checking out, getting your invoice, you are queuing all over the place. The websites overall, even from the big brands, are horrible when you try to make bookings. So first I would like to take this discussion back to this level. Why is the entire technology broken overall? And it is because there's 90% of legacy technology out there in hotels today. And even the big chains can't get it to the point where they get their things right. So I think the integration of all of these great pieces which you have developed and other people are developing, the apps that cover guest journey, check-in, check-out, whatever you want to do, they can't really work very well in most environments because the underlying technology is not able to get them connected. We are working with a number of very digital chains around the world, and I could give you some great examples a little bit later. And they have really taken it to a different level, but they started somewhere else. They didn't start with AI, they didn't start with the apps, the guest journey. They started with the underlying technology, which is the infrastructure and the data. If you don't have those pieces in place, the rest will always be broken.
Exactly. I agree with that. And the future of hospitality is not queuing in front of a self-service machine, right? So, if we go a little bit to the check-in phase, Fredrik, all these mobile check-ins, digital keys, you come to a hotel, you don't want to queue in front of the self-service machine. So how fast are hotels adopting this? And is it really working? Is it?
If it's working, it's working.
It's working.
And
okay, good.
I can tell you that mobile check-in is accelerating. It's no longer an innovation, right? It's also a huge demand from guests. You want to do that, filling in information and stuff like that, doing before you arrive. And although technology is great, it's also super important because that would free up time to be together with the guests.
Yeah.
And I believe that, I come from hospitality myself, and I'm a passionate hospitality guy, and the reason that I went into hospitality was because I wanted to create relations with people, and technology will and can free up time to make those relations. And of course also, you don't want to be that human robot standing behind a desk, taking in a lot of people, saying, next in line, please stop by whenever you have time. You want to create real, meaningful relations. And that's not possible. It's not meaningful to do that while you also need to fill out registration card, taking care of payment, asking for nationality, date of birth. That needs to be done on your own device before you arrive.
Do you agree? Add something to it?
No, I totally agree. I think but it starts somewhere else. For me, it starts with the product and the branding. You need to know what is your product in hotels and how do you position it on the market. And then you have to consider, how do I do my guest journey? So for me, the best example that it does work is some of the groups that are on the market that have taken the digital guest journey to 100%. And what I want to say with 100%, there are some chains in Europe already that run entirely staffless. So when you come to their properties, you will not find a single person anymore there that does anything. Payment, check-in, room keys, and so on. Now, what does it tell you? If a group can run 100% staffless, that means the digital guest journey from A to Z needs to work 100%. If it doesn't, there's nobody on site anymore who could help the guest. And so I would also always say, take a look at these examples which are out there, which do it in a great way, and what they do, which is very important when you talk to their guests. The guest experience you get back is, it's a fabulous guest journey. Yeah. I could do anything I wanted. I leave the hotel, no queues, I get my invoice in my inbox, and all is settled. So for me, not everybody will go there, and I think 4- and 5-star hotels and chains have a different guest journey, obviously, and more personal. But anybody who could drive the guest journey to be much more digital, efficient, flexible, great for the customers, that for me is an example that it can work. And I would suggest to the people to really take a look at those chains that have done it in different ways. Some with kiosks, some with ambassadors, some with 100% guest journey, and those are really the good examples on how to do it. Forget about the Accors of this world. Okay? It's still a disaster what these brands do in most areas.
Yeah, but we also, we have those hotels that do 100% digital, but we also have these 3, 4, 5-star hotels, where it is, there is this balance. So, Erlendur, what do you think? How does hotel find this balance between automation and human interactions? How can you know where is the line?
I think obviously Ulrik, the key point that Ulrik comes into is obviously the product that you have. What is your product? What do you want to provide? So I think that's really, if you have a complete automated experience and you are, the guest is seeking that, they are seeking a product that is like that, then you have, obviously the technology is going further, just taking all the steps, automating the steps, and then the guest is expecting that because they know that product is about that type of experience. Again, if you have a more 4 or 5-star experience, then obviously there is more personal interaction involved. So I think obviously AI and automation is all about enhancing the guest experience, not in essence replacing it, because even in full automated hotels, you have some kind of a interaction with someone. There's a person even through electronic format that is communicating with you. And I think we as human beings, we are always seeking some sort of human communication. I think in general we like interacting with human beings. So I think it's just about what is your product and how can you use the technology in the right way to enhance your product, to eliminate waste, which is manual task and all kind of processes which can be automated that don't need to be manual done by humans. So I think that's really where you have the key in the balance. Think about that, what you need, choose the right technology, and of course, select the right partners that are really thinking about technology from the start and not just at the end of the day, hey, we need some technology there, how can we solve that? So I think you need to think about it from the beginning and match with your product, and then you can select different technology partners, vendors that can help you fulfill your expectation from the guest and your product.
And maybe adding to this, we see obviously a lot of the existing hotel groups and hotels that want to become more digital, more online, which is important, and they have to do it. However, funny enough, we see a lot of hotel groups we are working with that are coming new to the market. And it's kind of hotel concepts and businesses in all kinds of different areas. You wouldn't believe that there is a need for that, but there is. And what these guys do is when they start, have an idea about the product, but when they start looking into technology, they always start with the guest journey. They say, how do I want to distribute my hotel? Where are the touch points? Do I need OTAs? Don't I need OTAs? Most need OTAs. So, but where's the distribution? How do I do my check-in? How do I deliver my keys? When do the clients have to do the payment? So starting with the guest journey when you look at your technology is really important, and you need to consider the apps and the pieces you have to have. But before you do that, look at the data and the underlying platform. If that's not right, the rest cannot connect and will not work either. It will be broken somewhere. And during the digital guest journey, one thing hotel people forget often is one of the most critical points is actually the payment. If you don't get the payment right within the guest journey, the whole guest journey will be broken. And I would say a great payment experience exists within very few hotel groups. It's like when you pay with Apple Pay, everybody knows how to do it. It's easy and straightforward. How many hotel accommodation providers do you have where you have that great payment experience?
But when hotels are thinking about the guest journey, they must be thinking about collecting all the data and these processes. You need to pay, you need to get your keys and all that. But what are they thinking about? The loyalty and how the experience the guest is having. What do you think?
Well, I think that technology can be used for some tasks, right? So imagine, during a stay, let's say, that a person would require more towels or whatever it might be during the stay. I think that is a great opportunity to use technology, right? It's a few clicks on your cell phone. You can order few more towels that can be brought to the room. And then I guess that is the magic of staying at a hotel, right? You ask for something and suddenly it appears in the room. That's great. But it's not asking for towels. That service which is required by this specific guest, that's not a great opportunity to go to, that's not a great opportunity for the hotel to create a human interaction. That, for me, must be something that should be used through technology.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, so let's go into the in-stay experience. So, you know, we have a lot of AI agents that we can use during the stay. So what do you think are the opportunities there? Of course, bringing towel, extra, a baby crib, or you know, whatever you need. But what are also the challenges in using AI agents in the in-stay experience? Erlendur, if you will start.
Yeah, so obviously we have, you know, you talk about the towels, you talk about guest requests, guest services. Obviously, that's more about automation and making sure that's efficient. It's not really about enhancing the guest experience, other than making sure that the service is being delivered. And obviously, technology is very important there. It's, you know, even though it's not a fancy AI part, still it's important that, as you say, you ask for something and something magically appears. And that magic is what hotel operation is really about at the end of the day. That's what hoteliers are striving to make sure that the guest is getting what they're expecting. And I think that's, you know, if you're running an efficient hotel, you want to use technology to make sure that someone interacts with someone and then something is brought to the guest that the guest is asking for. And how do you make sure that that works correctly? You can use AI maybe to make it more efficient. You can obviously use automation to make sure that things are being delivered at the right time as the guest is expecting it. But I also think, you know, and then you have all during the stay, you know, like also you have opportunities to personalize the in-stay experience, like giving the guest an option of how they want the service to be provided, if they want housekeeping, if they don't want housekeeping, which day they want housekeeping, and all of that. This is automation. But I think the challenges here, again, is really about what are the right technologies to use in the sense of getting the guest loyalty and guest expectation fulfilled. And I think, you know, as I said before, I think it's about enhancing, not really replacing. So it's just finding the right touch points where technology is doing the right job. But at the same time, you want to also be careful at some of the processes or some of the interaction. You want to still keep a human interface on them. So I think that's also where it gets a bit of challenges. You have to make sure that you're just not implementing technology for technology's sake.
Ule, what do you think? What is the opportunity? We know the basic opportunity, but isn't there something more into it?
I think the opportunity is huge, and I think it will, one of the things we are seeing, it will be coming much, much faster and at much lower cost than anything anybody would imagine today. I think these small steps we are taking in hotels in the different areas are important and critical. I would separate them into two main areas. One is the guest side, the guest-facing side, enhance the guest experience, the digital guest journey, make sure that's all very smooth. The other area is really all of the back office procedures. I think the most advanced hoteliers and hotel chains I know and we are friends with, they are paying attention to every little procedure which they are doing manually in the back office and say, how can I automate this procedure? And I think that everybody should be doing, because it's a waste of time if you have receptionists doing refunds or whatever stuff, which is really ridiculous today. But I think we need, again, to look at it from a much higher level. When you listen to Nadella the Microsoft CEO, he said 2 weeks ago publicly that actually forget about how software is working in today's world. It will be completely different in next year and the year after. And what he's meaning is that the way we know that software is being developed in isolated pieces, in different apps, in different software applications, that will be gone. You will have platforms underneath which hold the data and other things, and everything else above that can be run by AI agents. And I've seen in some of the hotel chains where I was recently, some of these AI agents working on loyalty, on guest journey, on back office procedures, and I was really impressed. I mean, I'm a tech guy, obviously, and when hotels manage to impress me, that we are developing tech ourselves. So that says a lot. And I've seen some things I wouldn't have believed last year are possible. So I think AI agents will overcome the whole industry, and the people that apply it now will be far ahead of the curve of everybody else. And you don't have to be a chain in order to do that, and you don't have to have development knowledge or tech knowledge. Anybody can start that. So we have some hoteliers which are having 1, 2, 3 hotels, and they have experimented with AI, and the outcome was partially really very, very good. I can give you some good examples later on of what I saw.
Yeah, so it must be really to understand the guest journey and the expectations, and then use the technology to fulfill that, right? All right, so what about the checkout, you know, and how to keep the relationship with the guests. So if you could give hoteliers an advice on this one, what would you recommend?
Well, for checkout, I think checkout is actually just a hygiene factor, so to speak, right? So it's a matter of letting the hotel know that now I left the room, and hotel, you can please start preparing for the next guest.
Yeah. But how can you be, you know, you want the guest to come again?
Yes.
You know,
yes, of course.
Maybe that's not happening in the checkout, it's about the whole stay, so. Absolutely,
and I think it starts actually from the moment of booking, because I think the key here is to create some sort of trust, right? So there are a few things that you can change throughout the stay, or whenever getting feedback from the guest. One thing which is difficult to change is the location of the hotel. But I think gaining trust is super important. Every hotel wants to move traffic from OTAs to own website, and every hotel wants to have more repeaters. I think it's crucial that a hotel is communicating tailored, so that every touch point of the guest journey is the exact same tone of voice, making sure that every single touch point is relevant, because that would drive loyalty, and that's a better way of people wanting to come back and stay at the same hotel.
You're smiling, Ule.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I've thought a lot about the checkout process. A lot of people have moved actually to taking payments at booking or pre-check-in or so to make that process easier. I think checkout is always painful. Why is it painful? Because you are leaving your money with the hotel. So if you are a 5-star hotel, 5-star deluxe hotel, you could provide a good personal checkout experience and make sure you honor the guest and you talk to him and so on. But what is the reality when you go to checkout? It's not only painful because you leave your money there, it's also painful because first of all you have to queue in line with tons of other people that are trying to check out. You are in a hurry, need to get to an airport or a train or whatever, and you need to wait 10 minutes until you are at checkout. And then what you would expect is that you have somebody who takes care of you. In the reality, that's not the case. days because the checkout person, the receptionist, doesn't have the time. There are 10 people again in the line. So he's looking into his PC, he takes your credit card, he processes the credit card, he tries to print the invoice, do tons of things. So where is the personal care there? So what I want to say with this is if you have opportunities to digitalize the checkout in a good way, but have people there at the hotel that really could take care in a personal manner of the hotel guests, that would make the difference. Not kind of, I have to digitalize the checkout, but it's the whole procedure and make the guest experience very good. So for example, there's a Dutch hotel group called Citizen M. They've got about 35 hotels throughout the world. They do it differently. From day one, they did it differently. They don't have check-in, check-out as such. They have big kiosks in the lobby. It's all automated. But there are people in the lobby. They have their own ambassadors in all of the hotels. And what do the ambassadors do? They help the people do the check-in, but they consult the guests. Yeah. They help the guests. They say, you can find this restaurant, this bar there. And so it's a great arrival and departure experience. Why? Because the technology does the job, the bad job, and the ambassadors really take care of the people. So lots of feedback you get from Citizen M guests is actually the experience was better than in a 5-star hotel I was queuing up last week for checkout. So it's always using technology in a way that the guests are happier than they were before.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What do you think, Erlendur?
So I think definitely, yeah. I think you touched a lot of the points there, Ulrich, but definitely a checkout is also preparing for check-in. So I think that's also an important factor, you know. It's not the end of the operation for a hotel. It's a starting point for a new experience for someone else. So like we have really good clients with Apaleo, like Flag Hotels and Stayry, and for them, the checkout can be quite different because they have different lengths of stay, they have different procedures based on length of stay, they have different standards based on length of stay. So what we're seeing is there are a lot of complexity behind this, in the back office, behind the curtain, so to speak, and so for a room or apartment to be ready for the next guest, you need to understand a lot about what happened before the new guest arrives. So when you're checking out, the hotels are already figuring out what should I be doing based on this particular guest and how the stay was with this guest. Do you have a family room with big family? There's obviously different requirements how to prepare that room for the next guest. So there's a lot of complexities that obviously you are not as a guest understanding and seeing, but technology is there to make it easy, to make the transition from one guest to another efficient and effective. And again, here it's important to optimize but without losing the personal gain. And again, also on the checkout, as you were talking about, the underlying data, you want to collect the data, about the guest, what was the preferences, and use that data hopefully when they arrive next to make sure that they are even continuing the experience. So it's not just about the A and B touch points, is check-in and check-out for the guest, but how can you use that experience to accumulate and understand and enhance the next stay with the guest when they check in again. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here to use automation, but again, obviously you want to preserve the personal touch where you want it in the guest experience, including the checkout.
And by the way, this is where AI can make a huge difference in the future, because one of the things, I don't know if you experience it, I experience it all the time. I stay at many different hotels, many different brands throughout the year. And most of the communication you receive from those hotels or hotel chains is, for me, totally meaningless. It is, you get a standard email, marketing email. It is not targeted to what I need. I stay in hotels private and for business, and I'm getting offers, proposals, things which are totally irrelevant to what I need. And so the AI will be able actually to personalize and create better loyalty through being much more accurate, knowing your data. So there are lots of things you can read out of data, and as humans, we are not able to transfer this into meaningful communication. Actually, the AI with the underlying data can do this far, far better. So the chains that apply it now, we see great results because the guests get what they want. the AI can transfer, this is a weekend, so I'm not coming to stay for business. I have 2 people, so I'm coming with family, maybe kids and so on. So the offers and the stay can be much more personalized than ever before, much faster, much quicker, and no human being through a CRM, traditional CRM, would be able to handle that.
And that is basically what guests expect today, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we started here, 12%, if the world was black and white, would choose thinks human interaction will retain better loyalty. So, but if the world was not as black and white, and we have this gray area in between, I think we all agree on that it's not about choosing tech or human, right? It's about to finding the right balance. Before we wrap this up and take some key takeaways, I want to ask if there are any questions. Do we have questions? It's also clear. You have to ask them some difficult ones. Challenge them a little bit. Yes. There's a mic over there, so if you could please.
Hi. I was wondering, because you seem to have a lot of experience, what do you think about creating a loyalty program at each individual hotel, even independent hotel, not just chains like Marriott, Hilton? They will have a loyalty program, but also at a individual hotel property. Thank you.
If I may start, I would say brand loyalty pretty much is gone in our world today. So what I want to say with this, if you're a consultant and your company is staying around the world at Hiltons and you're spending 200 nights at Hilton hotels throughout the world, because that's the policy of your company, that would be still a brand loyalty that exists. And obviously the Marriott and Hilton loyalty programs represent a huge value for them. But in general, people are looking for something different. They want to choose a nice hotel, nice location, good experience, good brand, and that might be different per city. So I think loyalty is changing radically and pretty fast for anybody else than the big brands. And obviously the big brands try to bring in more and more guests into their loyalty program because that's worth a lot. But for the rest of the hospitality industry, I think they should be starting thinking about loyalty in a different way. If I want to attract the guests again and again, I have to provide some other things than just points. If I go to a city and have a bad experience at one of the brands, I wouldn't go there again. So for me, it is an individual hotel, a small group, can actually provide great examples on how to pull guests into their hotels all the time and again by being more personalized, have a better guest journey. The experience has to be better. And coming back to the booking experience, the big brands are spending millions and millions on kind of the experience of making their websites great. I think that's where lots of the smaller brands and individual hotels are lacking a lot of good experiences for the guests, to be honest.
Do you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I can add something here as well. So I think it's a matter of finding out if you want to do loyalty, what is the purpose of the loyalty? Do you just want to move the traffic from OTAs to direct bookings, or would you rather go for something more, I need the consent in order to sign up for newsletters or whatever. And I also think that most importantly, it's a matter of, so what is your hotel? Is it a destination itself, or is it a mid-sized hotel in the middle of the city? That might also make it a bit difficult. So, but the purpose is, what is the purpose? Driving more direct bookings, or do you have another purpose? I think that must be the key.
Yeah.
But again, in order to driving more business, your digital experience when you book, when you search for a hotel, book it, and pay it, check in, check out must be superior to the rest. And I mean, I read some article last night where I think the big OTAs have spent 18 billion on advertisement last year altogether. come on, no hotel chain would even come close to that, not even the big brands. So I think it's less about how to compete with the OTAs. We have to accept that they are there, but actually find other ways keeping the people within your ecosystem. And actually booking, anybody can provide a hotel booking, but then the guest experience, that can be actually personalized and make a real difference once they are in your ecosystem. So I was with the owners of a hotel chain in Netherlands last week in Amsterdam. They have 45 hotels, and they get over 70% of their bookings directly. Also, they are in the heart, and it's big hotels. So there are ways actually to do it if you do it the right way.
Interesting.
Yeah, obviously we are more on the back office side of things, but contributing to the personalization and making sure that the guest experience. I think loyalty is an interesting thing, because if all of you would take a coffee break for 5 minutes and come back, 90-something% likelihood you will find the same seat to sit in, even though this is free sitting. And why? I think because we as human beings, we tend to look into patterns where we look into loyalty. Loyalty is embedded in us. We want, if we find something that works for us, even a seat like here, it's all the same seat, but why are you selecting the same seat? That's because we know that seat works for us, and we sat there before, and even though it might be a better seat somewhere else, we know that that works. So I think if we look at that from the hotel experience, if we just make sure that the guest comes in, they feel nice, they are happy with the stay, that obviously is catering to the loyalty. If I have to do another selection coming to the same city for the same purpose, I'm more likely to select the same hotel if it fulfills my needs and I feel that it's good experience that I had there. So I think the answer is yes, you can do this in multiple ways. It doesn't have to be that complex, but the complexity, how do you make sure that that guest does really feel welcome and really had that good experience?
Is there more questions? Yeah.
Thank you. Hi. I want to thank you for your insights. I think hotels, the reason we, as Ulrich was mentioning, that the technology is broken, is that our costs of operations are very, very high. And this could vary from one region to another, but the costs are generally very high. When OTAs invest billions into marketing, I mean, you can't compare the cost of doing business as an OTA and hotels who have to also drive direct bookings. But one challenge that I need you to help us to answer as hoteliers, apart from the cost, which we have to figure a way to do, is how do you help hoteliers to make a decision? How do you advise us to make a decision on which technology partner to work with? Because there seems to be a lot of noise. There are so many options. You just refer to them as legacy systems. And they'll continue to be referred to as that to convince us to move from them. So how do you help us to decide? Because you'll find so many PMSs. They'll tell you don't stay with one for 2-5 years. You'll find so many CRM options, RMS options, CRS options. So there is so much noise. How do you help us to look for the still voice?
What is the right technology?
I have a pretty radical opinion on this, if I may. I have radical opinions on a lot of things when it comes to hotels and technology. I think you mentioned PMSs, which are obviously a core part of any hotel's business and technology. I'm always saying, if whoever you're working with on that side can't prove to you that you can test anything upfront without any cost in an environment, I wouldn't buy it today anymore. And so I think a hotelier should be able to go to the website of the technology company, create an account, have immediately an environment of hotels with data to work in, be able to connect apps to it, and test it as long as he wants free of charge. Any vendor, and especially the PMS vendors, which do not provide that option, I would say, No, don't go there, because they can promise you anything. They can show you things in PowerPoint, in presentations, in demos. This is not what today's world is anymore. Today's world is you should be able to test it as long as you want, wherever you want, with all of the features, functionality, apps, try it out in different environments. That, for me, is today's world of technology. So I see a lot of PMS vendors that still do presentations left and right, and all of their features and functionality and how great it is all. And when then people implement it in their hotels, half of it doesn't work anymore because you don't have the interfaces, integrations, connections, and so on. So for me, this is kind of the next move in terms of hotel technology specifically, and how hoteliers should be able to experience it.
Proof that everything works.
Prove it.
Yep.
Don't promise it, prove it.
Yeah. Good. So we are almost on time. So do you all want to have one key takeaway? So final advice.
Sure. Let me start out. So I think the key takeaways from today, I think we have mentioned this several times, is finding that balance between using technology and how to create human interaction. But I also just like to add throughout the last question here that I think it's what we have experienced at our company is that very few hotels actually sit down and find out and sort of draw their guest journey. So if you want to have a solution for a digital guest journey, what do you do today? What sort of touch points are important for you? And I understand it can be difficult to find the right solution, but I think one great advice would be find one who has a good, deep integration to partners, and most likely a two-way integration, because that is something which is required if you want to use technology to actually do something and take away some of the manual tasks.
Yeah. Erlendur.
Yeah, obviously, again, humans touch needs to be there, or at least for most of the instances. In some of the interactions, I agree completely with that. This is a key takeaway. I think also key takeaway is you need to know what you want. You need to know your product. You need to know what you want to present to the guest, because I think that's really where you can start to match. And also to answer your question, if you really know what you stand for and what your value and proposition to the guest is, it's obviously easier for you to test out things and match. Is this technology helping me with what I want to achieve with my product? So I think that's really important. And obviously personalization is the key. You know, the guests are getting more demanding. So if you are stuck in technology, if you have a PMS that doesn't support you to build up a tech stack that really evolves, then you are not in a good place, because you want to be able to select the right partners to get you to the point where you are able to use technology to enhance the guest experience, offer customization, offer guest personalized housekeeping experience, allow them to have a seamless check-in experience, seamless payment experience, and all of that. And if you don't have the right partner today to do it, then you need to start thinking about someone else to work with, because this is the future. You need to be part of the future and select something good.
Very nicely said.
Yes.
So guest experience, guest journey, automation, efficiency is all key. And I would add on to this, if you really look at, don't work in isolated software pieces anymore.
Yeah.
The PMS piece as it exists today will not exist tomorrow anymore. PMSs as such will go away. There will be platforms which will allow to do anything you want, customization, personalization, using apps, doing guest journey in whatever way. Even putting AI agents on those platforms is already possible today, but those silos working in isolated software pieces as we have it in hotels today will be dramatically quickly going away.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming. If you have more questions, we will be here for a few minutes and you can come and have a chat. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.